CNBC posted one of my favorite series on YouTube, which is Millennial Money. And today we have an example of a nanny making $175,000 in New York City. Breona is a perfect example of what happens when you pursue a career you love and also work really hard to save money and embrace the FIRE movement. So why don't we get started and let's get the video rolling.
My favorite part about being a nanny is getting to be around the kids. I feel like I get to be a kid myself, running and jumping and flipping and tossing the kids in the air. It's just really fun for me. It requires so much energy, and I really enjoy the energy that the kids bring to it, and so each day is different.
So whenever someone starts with how much they love their job and talks about how it gives them energy and really like funnels them or fuels them towards doing what they love, that's a really good sign. So right out of the gate, what I love about this video is she starts talking about how much she loves her job and how unique it is. I mean, I think we should all aspire to do what we love, and when we do what we love, good things happen.
My name is Breona Johnson. I am 29 years old. I make $175,000 per year, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and New York City, New York. I am a nanny. Pre-COVID, my schedule was 1 week on in New York and then 1 week on in Atlanta. And so
this graph here is basically what set the YouTube comment section on fire. But honestly, I'm not surprised with someone making $175,000 as a nanny. As Breona said, it sounds like she's incredibly good at her job. She really loves it. And she's been working for a handful of years, really doing better and also growing her career. So the video is going to get into it a little bit later, but I think it's awesome to see people succeed in doing whatever they love. And Breona talks about it a little bit later, but she also did a great job negotiating her salary and negotiating a raise. So I think we can all learn from not only her like pursuing something you love, but also having the courage to negotiate salary when you find other options. Let's keep going.
I'd work 7 days straight in New York City, and then in Atlanta, I'd work anywhere from 3 to 5 days. The New York City family is continuing to pay me while I'm not working with them. And so for them, it was really important to kind of stay at home and stay in place. And so they've let go of a lot of their staff on paid leave. And I'm in contact with them every week. They know that they want me to return, and so they're paying me in hopes that I will return to them.
All right, I'm gonna skip this ad really quick.
Okay. Hey! And as I was nearing graduation and I was looking and considering teaching, I got my first teaching offer, and it was very low. And of course I had like student loans and things. So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to pay that off, but I discovered nanny agencies, and it was like a whole new world opened up where I discovered like nannies can get paid benefits and full-time hours and like guaranteed hours, and that we can travel and live in. And so once I discovered that, it was easy for me to like quickly decide that I was going to be a full-time nanny as my career.
Awesome. So what I love about what Breona did is she got a career and she had some student loans, but then it sounded like she was not super satisfied with like the future career prospects of being a teacher in like, let's say a public school system, wherever she was. So I think also what's really excellent is, you know, whatever career or whatever degree you get, you can always pivot towards something that's a better fit for you, whether it's financially or just like a better fit for your career. So once again, I like the idea of our careers or our degrees don't define us, we define ourselves, and we can always pivot towards other things. So I love that she did that. I'm not surprised she continues to succeed.
My dad, he always worked 2 jobs. He always worked in insurance, and he was a waiter. And that kind of instilled that mentality in myself as well. And even now, if I lose one nanny job, I have another nanny job. And so I think it's just been really important for me to have that, and just that financial security that it's brought to me has been great. I wasn't making what I wanted to make, and so I applied to another job that was also, it was week on, week off. and they offered me $120,000 per year for just one child, same schedule, housing provided, things like that. So I came to the family that I was working for in New York City, and I let them know that that was the schedule that they were providing, and they offered a $60,000 per year raise with the agreement that I stay with them long term. So it was very nerve-wracking. I was super nervous, basically coming to them prepared to quit, and I did not in any way expect them to offer such a large raise, which is why I was prepared to quit, because I didn't want to ask for that. But they were happy to provide what I needed to stay, and that included things like flights and hotels on my off weeks, and just some great benefits that I didn't have before. And it made it an easy decision for me to stay.
Here's what I love about that example. Sometimes we have to have those uncomfortable conversations, whether it's asking for more money, more benefits, or even bringing a new job offer to the table. So when you're a really good employee and you're working hard and you find something you love, handling those conversations in a mature way, as you did with your employer, is completely okay. So I think this is a really good example of, like, if you just follow something you love, you work hard, and then you keep trying to advance and grow your skills and get better, and then also have those challenging conversations about your career or pay. I think they can work out really well and create really good, long-lasting fits, whether it's your career or job. So I just wanted to commend Breona for, like, having the courage to, like, talk about something challenging and also serve that example up to everyone else on YouTube. Like, I think that's a great example. So I'd give this a 10 out of 10 so far. I can't wait till we get to the budget. And that's where we're going.
Being a live-in nanny, both in New York City and living with the family in Atlanta, I'm not charged any rent or utilities. At times, it can definitely be stressful. Initially, especially setting up both my place in New York City and here, I have like double of everything. So that's double the expenses. And so a lot of times, like, I'll be looking for something and I'll realize I only have one of it and it's in New York, or I have to, watch the weather to make sure that I'm, like, when I'm leaving Atlanta, that I'm dressed properly to go back to, like, cold New York City. So it's definitely hectic, and I always keep a suitcase packed, and I always keep toiletries and everything I need in there. But just setting up both rooms initially was a lot. The most important lesson I've learned about money is having a budget. It's critical. If you don't know where your money is going, it's really difficult to save or pay off debt or even know what you have coming in.
Awesome. So this is what I've been waiting for. This girl is absolutely crushing her budget. So a little bit later in the video, which we're going to skip, she talks about how she discovered the FIRE movement. And what the FIRE movement is basically financial independence and retire early. And this girl is living the tenets of the FIRE movement very well. So what you can see from her budget, about half of her take-home pay is going towards paying off student loans, and she has around $15,000 in total debt. So this girl is really just like pouring her money towards getting out of debt and absolutely crushing it. So I love seeing that. The second thing I really enjoy about this is, there's actually two things. She's picking what to enjoy and what to really go heavy in. And what you can see is she's spending about $600 or $700 a month on food expense. And that's part of that is a private chef. So what this girl is doing is she's being really smart about her expenses, but she's also investing pretty heavily in something that she really enjoys and adds a lot of value to her life. So I think what's important is when we create budgets, we don't forget about fun. We don't forget about what gives us energy or what really adds value to our life. We don't have to cut everything to the bones. We can still crush it without doing that, which is exactly what this girl is doing. The second thing I really love about this budget is she has therapy or like self-help as a part of her budget. And I think, and I really love seeing that in budgets and also in what people do. I think it's really important to start like removing the stigma of spending a couple $100s per month on working with a therapist, because like her investment in herself and her well-being is equally as important as the other costs she has in her life. So I really just wanted to also like recognize like the bravery she has of basically showing, thousands of people on the internet that she's paying $400 a month for therapy, investing in herself and her mental well-being. So I love seeing that. This is an excellent budget. I don't really have much to critique, but what I want to do now is I want to show how quickly this girl, if she continues doing what she's doing and continues growing in her career as a nanny, I really want to show how bright her potential is and how this very heavy saving budget is going to set her in a position to retire very early in life. So let's get rolling, guys. Before we show how quickly Breona can accomplish her goals, let's really quickly touch on the assumptions. So first, Breona is debt-free in 6 months, so we're going to go ahead and avoid that for this example. Second, we're going to use the 3% rule, which is a common tool the FIRE community uses to help estimate how long it takes to retire. According to this rule, she needs $1.6 million in the bank to live off her investments and generate a passive income of $50,000 per year. Next, let's really briefly touch on the numbers that we're going to use for this model. First, she has about $10,000 today in her savings account. She has an $8.5 thousand after-tax income, and she's spending $2,000 per month. We're going to use some basic growth assumptions where she grows her salary by 3.5% per year. She has a 2.5% increase in spending, and her investments grow at a rate of 7% per year, which is a similar return that our markets have given us over the past 20 years. Let's take those numbers and then show how quickly she's able to become a millionaire and retire early, very early in her 40s. So as you can see, the numbers paint a really compelling story. Breona, by the age of 41, is able to become a millionaire, and those investments will be generating $50,000 per year in passive income. What I love about Breona's example is it's a great example on what happens when you set a really big goal, you work to make it happen, and you keep progressing in your career and keep working hard. So thank you so much for watching this entire video. You made it all the way. Please like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon. Every single one makes a really big difference on this new channel. I'm going to keep bringing content to you every single